Germany is taking steps to reopen the economy and further ease restrictions on public life. Those measures are expected to be announced today after Chancellor Angela Merkel holds a teleconference with heads of state governments. A draft decision warns, however, that a new spike in infections could lead to more lockdowns. It's been 100 days since Germany's first confirmed case. Here's a look at how the outbreak has unfolded as Berlin takes careful steps to reopen the country.
The president of the Public Health Agency, Robert Koch Institute, had good news on Tuesday. Only 685 new registered cases in Germany since Monday. It's our goal to protect the population from COVID-19 in the best way, and that has worked very well in Germany so far, as you can tell from the latest figures. It's 100 days since the coronavirus hit Germany here in Bavaria. On the 27th of January, a man falls ill after contracting the virus from his Chinese co-worker. Initially, German officials are relaxed. Health Minister Jens Spahn compares the coronavirus to the flu. Early March, during Carnival celebrations, the region of Heinsberg becomes a virus hotspot. But a Bundesliga soccer game in nearby Mönchengladbach goes ahead with some 50,000 spectators. This is when the severity of the crisis really hits Germany. In early March, TV images from crisis-ridden Italy reached German households. By mid-March, more people have died from COVID-19 in Italy than in China, making Italy the most hard-hit country in the world. German authorities ramp up testing and add ICU beds in hospitals. Bigger events get cancelled, shops and schools closed, border checks are imposed. And one man becomes the public face of the fight against the virus, Christian Drosten, virologist at Berlin's renowned Charité Hospital. Angela Merkel initially stays quiet. But in mid-March, she addresses the German nation on TV, a first in her 15 years as head of government. These are the most severe restrictions post-war Germany has ever seen. Let me assure you, for somebody like me, for whom freedom of travel and movement was a hard-fought right, such restrictions are only justified when absolutely necessary. And the measures seem to work. The calculations show when and how many people became infected and when key steps were taken in Germany to slow the spread. Now, shops, museums and churches can open again if they meet hygiene and social distancing requirements. Face masks are now mandatory for shopping trips and on public transport. On Wednesday, Angela Merkel and the country's 16 state premiers will discuss the next round of easing restrictions. Bavarian officials have already announced that beer gardens would be able to open again on the 18th of May.
Our political correspondent Kate Brady is covering this story for us. Kate, many here in Germany are hoping the government today will announce a further relaxation of lockdown restrictions. What can we expect?
Well, it seems that certainly will be the case later today. There's already been a draft paper doing the rounds here among the German media this morning. And some of the main points that we're likely to see relaxations on today are shops, the reopening of shops nationwide, regardless of the size. So far, that's been limited to smaller shops of up to 800 metres squared. So it looks like they will be reopened, albeit, of course, on the condition that social distancing measures are upheld by customers and staff. Also, we're likely to see the reopening of schools, a gradual reopening of schools for all students by the summer break. Interestingly, though, it seems that it will be up to the individual states to decide whether things like hotels, bars, restaurants and universities will reopen and to what extent. Of course, it seems that all of these relaxations will indeed be on the condition that the number of new cases of coronavirus does not increase here in Germany. And at least according to this draft paper that we've seen so far today, it seems that each individual state will be required to re-implement restrictions should the number of new cases rise above 50 per 100,000 citizens in a specific borough. So these do come with strings attached, and there are, of course, expectations then of the people here in Germany to follow these social distancing rules.
Okay, so clearly the coronavirus is a moving target and all this could change quickly. Tell us, Kate, we've got some states like Bavaria here pushing ahead to lift lockdown decisions before they're announced on a national level. Is this a case of German states asserting their independence, snubbing Berlin, so to speak?
Not necessarily snubbing Berlin, but of course this is a federal system and each of Germany's 16 federal states has the right at the end of the day to make its own decisions. And of course some of that responsibility, it seems, is going to be officially pushed onto them today after these talks, or rather during the talks between Angela Merkel and the 16 state premiers. But there is also, I feel like, a little bit of competition between the state premiers at the moment, which of course is very dangerous considering that we're living through a pandemic. But it seems that each state wants to be the one to say, look how much we've achieved, and wants to take the first step to let their local people back out into public life and get their economy back up and running again.
Okay, thank you so much. DW political correspondent Kate Brady. Well, another much anticipated decision here in Germany is whether the Bundesliga soccer season can resume play. Federal and state ministers are also set to discuss this today. If the league gets the green light, it would be the first of Europe's 5 biggest soccer leagues to return to the pitch.
To play or not to play? That is the question only politicians can answer. Germany's football league, the DFL, has revealed more than 10 positive COVID-19 cases so far, 3 from FC Cologne. The league had just started the first wave of coronavirus tests last week in preparations to get back on the pitch. Another wave of testing is underway. Following the initial positive cases, however, teams continue to train in compliance with distancing protocols set by medical experts. Germany's health minister, Jens Spahn, has expressed his support for the Bundesliga's plan to resume play, stating, "The basic plan makes sense and could serve as a model for other professional sports, but we'll have to see how it goes." Several clubs in the Bundesliga's first division reported 0 positive COVID-19 tests. The DFL has stated, should the season go ahead, all teams will have to go into quarantine-like training camps 1 week before games restart. Some players had already expressed their concerns about resuming in mid-May, but the choice isn't theirs to make. Fan groups in Germany had reservations about the restart as well. As expected, no fans will be allowed in the stadiums. Germany's police union believes fans will gather outside the stadiums regardless of the rules. Must the show go on? The DFL is hoping the politicians will approve the resumption of the Bundesliga and second division seasons as soon as May 15th. But if play does resume and then a player tests positive, what happens then?
Well, joining us here to talk about the potential return of Bundesliga action is our sports correspondent, Jonathan Crane. Good to see you, Jonathan. Tell us, these reports out there that suggest that the Bundesliga could get the green light, what will happen if the Bundesliga does not get that green light?
Well, I think the German Football League, the DFL, which runs the Bundesliga and Germany's second division, has been quite clear about this. Clubs will go out of business if we can't get playing again. A lot of the reason for that is down to TV money. 300 million euros are at stake. That's the last slice of TV money that's due to come into clubs. So obviously, if they don't play, they don't get that money. Now, as you say, some reports in Germany suggesting that the Bundesliga will be allowed to restart. We heard from the Interior Minister, Horst Seehofer, at the weekend. His ministry is also responsible for sport in Germany. He backed a restart. But there was a caveat. He said, football shouldn't be given any special privileges. Now, I think politicians have been pretty clear that football can only resume when it's safe to do so. The league has set out an extensive hygiene plan, basically aimed at minimising the risk of infections and of the coronavirus spreading. It feels like we've been talking about this and waiting for this decision for ages. The league is ready to go, and so are the clubs.
For the Bundesliga, it's about survival. That's clear, because there's a lot of money involved. That means if we don't finish the season by June 30th, then our TV revenues are at risk, money from sponsors is at risk, because we simply didn't deliver the goods, to put it bluntly. And besides, we have to see that we get our lives going again. And I think the Bundesliga can contribute to that.
Now, I understand you spoke with the General Secretary of FIFPro, that's the Global Players Union. What's their stance on this?
Well, we have to remember that for all the support that we've been hearing for the Bundesliga, there are, of course, people who oppose to a restart, some fan groups indeed, and we've been hearing a bit from players. Don't forget at the weekend we heard from the Cologne midfielder Verstrada, who basically said, look, I'm a bit worried, and FIFPro have said that a lot of players have been coming to them with their concerns, mainly to safety, down to safety, but also the perception that this gives off, the message they're sending if they play football. I think they're very conscious that football shouldn't be seen to be having special rules compared to everyone else. So I think that is one of the concerns. The league will say, look, the fact that these tests came back positive shows our system is working, the plan is working, and they will be going full steam ahead.
We'll keep an eye on it. Jonathan Crane from DW Sport, thanks so much.
You're welcome.